Have you watched Beef?
You've reached Actual Service Construction. Danny can't come to the phone.
Babe? What happened?
If you haven't, you can still watch the video. It's a Asian American narrative, Beef is, but it's also a very human story that touches upon the universal struggles and ends of our existence that everyone in this world, regardless of their ethnicity and cultural background, can relate to. And we, as East Asians, out of all people, should understand and appreciate the Asian nuances portrayed by it. And today, we're going to talk about those Asian nuances. Those, let's say, emotional damage.
Emotional damage!
We suffer, particularly because of our Asianness. Being East Asian means for us a kind of upbringing, a set of social ethics and silent agreement that translates into this expectations people have for us and we have for ourselves. Of all the expectations, the first one should be politeness, which is also what Beef sets out to debunk. If we can find one common trait in the heterogeneous East Asian people and cultures, namely Chinese, Japanese, and Korean, it has to be that we value politeness. Politeness means moderation in every way. It's good manners. It's the absence of intense or extreme emotions, expressions, and behaviors. So to maintain this facade of politeness, we learn to repress ourselves. And this self-repression is epitomized by this one-word philosophy, 忍. You can see people hanging up this big word 忍 in their living room, just like a motto to live by. Repression is in our upbringing, and we learn it by heart. Amy, Ali Wong's character in Beef, had this line,
to admit, but I think that growing up with my parents taught me to repress all my feelings.
We were taught to be polite when we're still too young to understand what polite means. But I think every single Chinese kid growing up was told not to make a scene, right? Not to make a scene when they want something, not to make a scene when they feel sad or angry. Because if you make a scene, if you embarrass your parents in public place, you will lose their faces. Disclaimer first, I'm not saying that self-repression is an evil thing. It's actually necessary in a modern and civilized society like what we have right now. Because if we don't repress ourselves from time to time, and we just let our emotions dictate us, and this society would be full of chaos and noise, because whenever people feel frustrated, they would just yell, they would just shout at people, and there won't be any order. But extreme and habitual self-repression is essentially denying yourself your true identity. It's like you don't think being yourself is a good thing, so you stop being yourself. You put on masks. You create a persona for yourself.
George, I'm a bad person. I've tried to hide that from you because you're not.
And no matter how good a self-repressor you are, what is repressed will finally be let loose one way or another. And when it eventually does, it will be an explosion of wild emotions and crazy behaviors. And this takes the form of a road rage and a series of revenge after that in Beef. Their rage towards each other brings both of them down, ruining their life. But the outburst of rage is still catharsis and healing for them. Because by being the worst version of themselves, by being the ugliest version of themselves, and being made to see that, they finally come to terms with themselves, with who they are. And another thing about us East Asians is that we are generally family-oriented. Rooted in one of the core values of Confucianism, filial piety, we attach great importance to family. And normally we have very strong bonds with our family members. But look, there's a difference between strong bonds and close relationships. Since East Asians are generally a bit reticent on their emotions and affections, So we may value a lot about our family, but seldom communicate with them, both verbally and emotionally. And this strong but not really close relationships with our family members, especially with our parents, can be sometimes problematic because we know very well that they love us and we love them back, but they don't really know a lot about who we really are and who we aspire to be. But they have their expectation towards us, and this expectations is not based upon our aspirations, our ambitions in life, but based upon their own image of us. It's likely that we feel trapped in our parents' expectations towards us. We were born into debt to our parents because they gave us life. And it's only natural and right that we pay them back with the utmost respect, love, and obedience. We feel obliged to live up to their expectations and shape our life accordingly because we want to and we need to make them feel proud of us. And that's how parents' personal biases, personal failures, unattained dreams, and unresolved traumas march into their children's life, commanding and even dictating. To be more like the model East Asian that expected of you means to be less you. And as a result, under the calm and reserved surface of the East Asian people are the unsettling and splitting inner conflicts. We are torn between what we should feel and what we are really feeling, between who we are supposed to be and who we really are.